Let me at him!
Well, there it is. Hello and welcome to a replay cast on Twisted Meadows for Warcraft 3. It's a game between Yumi0414 and it says ADADDAD, but otherwise we're going to refer to him as Player 9 because that's simply how it comes up in the replay. I have a little thing that helps me play these replays because a lot of the time when you download a replay off Warcraft3replayers.com or ReplayNet, whatever it might be, you go to double click it or load it up in your Warcraft 3 and it goes, can't find this file. Well, there is a little fix for doing things like that, and if you're interested I could probably put it in a description for it in the video description, but yeah, this is how it's loaded up. So it's going to be ADADDAD, and I'll probably put a link to the actual website, which is Warcraft3replays.com, where I actually got the replay from. So that way you can see it for yourselves, just exactly what I'm talking about. So we have Yumi0414 playing as the Red Human, and he's going Mountain King first, and following up with a barracks, and we can see Player 9, who's rolling out with his Death Knight and ghouls. Are we going to see a crypt, or a graveyard rather? I don't know. We'll see. We'll check back on him, because there ain't too much to see. Yumi0414's playing it safe, getting himself a tower, and double building his farm on the side just to make sure that he can continue his production. 18 out of 18 food. Quick, hurry up. There we go. More peasants to come out, or maybe another footman. Nope, peasants. Cheeky ghoul coming in here for the scout, and immediately into militia form there just to push that ghoul back. Don't want any messing around with that ghoul. Want to keep the peasants as healthy as possible, because if that ghoul gets a lot of damage done on those peasants, it's going to be much easier for that Death Knight to later on do some death coiling fun. So we've got the Mountain King moving down south with quite a few militia here. Not sure, he's coming over to creep this Knoll Warden, Knoll Overseer camp, and you can see the Death Knight moving out on the minimap. As you can see, my webcam should be covering the bottom right, which is entirely the really the replay vision, and just a little bit of the game, but only a tiny bit of the actual interface UI. What you see in the game. Death Knight's out and about, he's getting ready to throw down his Rod of Necromancy. Oh, down goes one of the peasants, but Yumi0414 should be able to kill this Overseer in time, so by getting one of those peasants down, Player 9 sacrifices his ability to steal the level 5 creep there with a death coil. However, he's made his choice and he's got himself 2. Is it going to be a third peasant? It is. So he's up to 75 experience, so you get 25 experience per peasant, which is pretty damn nice. So he's almost halfway the way through, and he's obviously killed off 3 units, which Yumi0414's now going to have to build back up. So yeah, that's pretty productive start for Player 9 so far, and now he's going to just rub it in a little bit more by taking one of the creep camps nearest to Yumi0414. Yumi0414's just really angry with these skeletons and is following them to the depths of Hades. Well, actually now they're following him. Now he's following them. A little bit of trickery going on between the two, but I can see why he was doing that, because now he's notched himself up to level 2 on his Mountain King, so he just wanted one skeleton kill to seal the deal, and maybe he's going to go and take Player 9's creep camp, much like Player 9 took his creep camp, and now Player 9 is obviously coming back, and he's like, no, no, I must try to death coil something. Will it be the Knoll Brute? I don't know. Both players, no, only Player 9 is attacking right now. He's sending out some ghouls. Yumi0414's cleverly scouting out with his footmen just to sort of see where his opponent is, and it should give Yumi0414 enough time to flee from the scene. He does have the power of Mountain King though to Stormbolt and potentially surround, but not too many footmen to back it up with. We've got a few skeletons underneath, checking for militias to come down from the town hall and make their way to an expansion point. This is pretty much why these 2 skeletons are sitting right here. So it just gives both players are basically scouting very smartly, just trying to see what their opponent is doing, really just so they know what they can then go ahead and do. Player 9, I don't know whether he's faking out trying to take an expansion or not. He's lost his vision over here, and Yumi0414 looks like he's backing up. He hasn't got a tech yet. He's going for a second tower and a lumber mill to coincide with this tower, which will then turn into a guard tower. So he obviously wants to defend his base against any further harassment via Death Knight and Ghouls. Death Knight choosing to creep right now. Unholy Aura is going to help him heal up a little bit at the halfway point. You don't want to be too vulnerable versus a Mountain King, and he's going to get himself that Null Overseer. In a moment, we can see Yumiko's going down here for the creep camp of Truth. The expansion, which he will desperately want versus an Undead. What item did he get? Just out of curiosity. Ah, he only got a Ring of Protection +2. I suppose that might do at the early game versus a bit of Mountain King, Stormbolt, Harass, Stuns, Surrounds. You don't know. It could be the difference between winning the game or losing the game. Ooh, now that's much better. Pendant of Energy. So we've got Circlet of Nobility, Pendant of Energy for the Mountain King. And a Tome of Intelligence alongside level 3. So that's level 2 Stormbolt, baby. He's going to start pumping out some serious damage. Essentially going to get himself a free ghoul kill every single time he engages with player 9. So Town Hall is going to be producing any more peasants. I suppose you might be happy enough with 5 peasants on the wood. But he's got the expansion going. He's got a couple more towers going. I think he's either going to be going for potentially a Goblin Lab for Shredder, or he's just going to wait it out with the peasants he's got. Nope, he is going to start producing some more. And what do we see sold here? Ooh, player 9 selling your Ring of Protection. I see. It's like that, is it? You don't want the Ring of Protection. You say no. I don't care about no Stormbolt. Don't bother me. Got double crypts here going for Gargs. This is interesting play. So we've got a lot of ghouls, and obviously, as is typical, humans do tend to fast expand, particularly versus undead, because they feel the need for it, and generally they do need it, because undead is quite powerful against human, especially if it's uncontested or gets too powerful in the hero range. Speaking of heroes, we've got Dark Ranger over here. Is it going Silence, or is it gone Black Arrows first? Black Arrows first, so we're going to be trying to pick off some footmen, or at least try to get a couple of hits here with the Black Arrow on any weak peasants maybe nearby. Nope, the footy is taking the front. Oh, Mountain King specking into Thunderclap. So is that level 2 Stormbolt and level 1 Thunderclap? Ooh, or is it level 2 Thunderclap? Did he even get Bash? I'm not seeing any Bash procs, so I'm going to assume that he skipped Bash. And it looks like that was actually a pretty smart move. Ah, that's got to be level 2 Clap then perhaps, because that Stormbolt didn't look like it did that much damage. Maybe we'll get another Stormbolt out. We can sort of calculate the amount of damage that's going to be done. Just looking at the heroes, where he's going to Stormbolt something in a second. Oh my goodness, player 9. You do not want to hang around with a Mountain King and a bunch of footmen are chasing after you. He's trying to bait this out. I think he's just trying to bait Stormbolts, because there's no way he's that lax. Anyway, we can see Yumiko's now secured his expansion. 2 towers to boot with it, as well as his main. And it's almost as though he knew Garg Harass was coming. I suspected this was actually just versus the ghouls, but those towers are perfectly placed. They protect the gold mine and the wood, the lumber mill, the lumber inn. And that way he can actually stop those Gargs from being so annoying. He's still using that Death Knight carefully. Just really punishing those peasants, trying to build up on the experience, because we've got level 3 Death Knight here alongside level 1 Dark Ranger. It's not like player 9 is behind by any means. An undead player can basically fight versus a human player without an expansion. It's only when it goes really late into the game that you're going to probably want that expansion. Do we see an Acolyte being built though? Ah, Sacrificial Pit. So I was curious there for a moment whether player 9 had the ambitions to get himself an expansion a little bit earlier. But no, it's just so he can scout out his opponents, see where the Mountain King is. Perhaps it's just to help him out versus invisible Mountain Kings, because something I have noticed that human players tend to do, and perhaps Yumiko is one of those, is when they venture over to the shop over here, you can purchase yourself an invisible potion. Yeah. For only 100 gold. And that's pretty darn useful at times, because it allows you to sneak up on your opponent and perhaps get the last hit, even steal the item from your opponent whilst he's creeping, and get it off the Ogre Magi, for example. What is he? Oh, Talisman of Evasion. Could be good, could be bad, we don't know. It's not a terrible item at all by any means. And it could be the game breaker. Once more, these kind of protection items could really help versus the Mountain King. Oh my goodness, pick up that tone quickly before the stun goes off. Gargs are going to town. The footmen have got Defend. The Defend can actually deflect attacks back onto the Gargs. So Defend is a pretty smart move here from Yumiko. It's not exactly going to counter the Gargs that heavily, but it won't hurt. You can see it will hurt the Gargs though a little bit. You can actually see attacks coming back here. Does look like Yumiko would be able to get a kill here, because he's got plenty of Stormbolt juice left, and that Dark Ranger has... Oh my goodness, he really is focusing on the Gargs here. It looked like he had like pretty much a guaranteed kill on that Dark Ranger, aside from the Death Knight being able to throw off the odd Death Coil to keep the Dark Ranger going, but he chooses to focus the odd Garg or two and then concentrate on the Acolyte and deny the expansion. Nice move here from player 9, just putting so much pressure on that Mountain King that he's having to back off. He can't use the remaining 260 mana, not comfortably. Will he be able to keep this expansion? The Mountain King's trying to get back in here. He does actually throw down a Stormbolt just to steal the creep kill so he can get the experience for himself, deny his opponent. It does look like he's going to get the last hit on the gold mine and teleport out, so he does deny that expansion, which is really annoying for player 9, but at the same time, player 9 had a nice successful engagement from that. I think he probably only lost like one Garg or so and managed to pick off a few footmen and very heavily injure that Mountain King. So we've got a blacksmith here, more towers, and the expansion is the one that's teching up. So we're going up to tier 3 for Yumi0414 at his expansion. He's getting more towers in his main, but unfortunately a couple of them are probably going to be picked off before they can go up. Maybe even the third one. Oh, that timing. Very nicely done there from player 9. Denies 3 towers. If he was just a second or two later, maybe even 2 of those towers would have survived. He's now going to try to do any damage he can do versus his wood peasants because they're slightly getting away from that tower range and it allows him to pick off a couple here and there. Mountain King, still level 3 and only footman to boot. So what is he building up into, you say? Well, it looks like he's building up into workshops, so we're going to expect some gyrocopters or perhaps straight into mass tanks. We know that tanks are good versus undead, but generally it's easier to play mass tanks route when you've got strong heroes to back it up. And right now a level 3 Mountain King isn't the most powerful thing in the world. That's a lot of Gargs. There's got to be at least one group of Gargs. I can't quite tell for you exactly how much right now. I'm going to have a look and see the players. 45 food at the moment for player 9. Still trying to go for this expansion. 45 food for Yumi0414. And we can see this expansion. Will it survive? It should definitely survive this time. With only 2 footmen and a Mountain King. The Gargs are finding it hard to really pick off these footmen though. Oh, that Garg micro. I like it, but it wasn't enough to stop the Stormbolt from coming through. That is pretty harsh. And down goes another footman in a moment. Will the Acolyte fall down? Yes, a Stormbolt says yes indeed. Almost level 4 on the Mountain King, and he's slyly walking away here. Although the player 9 does have speed to keep up with this Mountain King. You know, if he had another couple of Stormbolts to throw out there, yeah, he can definitely force a teleport. So Yumi0414 uses that teleport now instead of actually taking any more damage. We've got gyrocopters, flying machines coming through for Yumi0414. So this is going to be nice for him to deal with the Gargs. He's upgrading the black powder. Once he gets his tier 3, he's going to get flak cannons, which will allow him to basically do some area of effect damage, which is going to be huge against clumped up gargoyles. Just a lot of extra damage packed out of that. Castle has been completed. Not too many resources though for Yumi0414. Meanwhile, player 9, how much has he got? We're seeing 139 gold, 800 wood, so he's alright for wood. He doesn't need to ask his allies for wood. And we have got an expansion, but with no acolytes on it. Now, I am kind of curious how player 9... I mean, aside from the obvious play here, which is denying your opponent creep camps, and the best way to do that is to kill the creep camps nearest your opponent, so I understand this play. With that many Gargs, he could definitely take on the dragon. And kill it relatively quickly, and probably without losing anything. He would need to sacrifice the time to move over here, kill his own creep camp, or he could use these opponents' one over here, get the Goblin Zeppelin and move back. But obviously, harass from Yumi0414 and the general threat of the inevitable gyrocopters means that player 9 is probably focusing on trying to deny those nearest creep camps. And the realistic creep camps, I would say, because I don't think Yumi0414 is going to take on those dragons, not until he gets his own chunk of gyrocopters. We do see a switch towards fiends and slaughterhouse meat wagons, so that's going to allow player 9 to switch it up a little bit, maybe put some pressure on the expansion. We'll see how this plays out. There's going to be a lot of peasants here. They're going to be trying to convert into militia mode, as you can see right now. Put some additional have a presence on the battlefield, as well as put pressure onto that meat wagon. That's pretty much definitely going down. The Mountain King can slowly chase him down, boost the speed on the Mountain King. And the Pendant of Energy just means that the Death Knight can't find it very easy to deny this meat wagon kill. Unless he gets the last hit on it. Oh, is he not going to do it? No. He's switching back. The Gargs are moving into the Gyrocopters. The Gyrocopters are pulling back, doing some damage. You can see the flak cannons going to work. The Gargs really trying to do a good job there, picking off the Gyrocopters one by one, but that was very clever play from Yumiko. Whilst he was chasing down with his heroes, he managed to pull back with the Gyros, on and off, and down goes the Stormbolt. Dark Rangers surround. Militia's about to run out any moment, but it's not going to be a big deal because Yumiko will be able to seal the kill there. So he manages to have a very successful engagement and forces player 9 to teleport back to his main base, which leaves his expansion vulnerable. So player 9 then unsummons everything, gets whatever cash back he can from this expansion, which has been so hard to try to secure this game. And Yumiko might actually be able to take the expansion for himself because he's got enough peasants here. I would wonder if he would do that. I wouldn't even say that would be a bad idea. But then again, what do I know? I'm not a pro player on this level by any means. It's probably the thing I would have done. Whether it would be the right thing or not, because that is a lot of peasants. He could pretty quickly build up some towers, get an expansion, and he won his engagement. And I don't see player 9 with potential power. I mean, I'm obviously observing, but from Yumiko's point of view, I don't think player 9 was in a position where he could have denied that expansion from going down. So it just makes you think. Well, there it is. Okay, so Yumiko's doing some more creeping right now. He's got his Archmage out, so the Brilliance Aura and the Paladin for the support. So just more support for the Mountain King. Keep the Mountain King going for as long as possible, and you're going to have a very fun game as a human player versus undead. More... Ooh, no, I was about to say more Gyrocopters. I was getting ready for that. Nope, it's time. It's time to end the game. Well, not just yet, but we're moving on to siege tanks, and that pretty much does indicate the point where the human player's like, yeah, had enough of you now, Mr. Undead. Time to build some siege tanks and completely and utterly hard counter you. Imbued Masonry, Lumber Mill. So he really wants to protect his towers and his buildings. Not a bad choice, particularly since player 9 did choose to build a meat wagon. Whether he's continuing to get them or not, I don't think he is just yet. What items do we see? Ooh, Aleria's Flute of Accuracy. That is indeed nice, particularly when you have a whole ton of fiends alongside your army. Ah, so Yumiko's going to be the first to go and do the Red Creep Camp, aka the Red Dragon, and he's eaten one of the Knights. So we can see Yumiko's moving on to Knights. That's nice. So Knights, Siege Tanks, a few Gyrocopters, triple hero. Very, very tough for the Undead to deal with, unless the Undead player has essentially level 5 heroes or higher, because that way he can just nuke and relax. That Dragon's doing really good damage versus that Archmage. Yeah, you don't want him hitting your Archmage. Blimey. That Archmage was going down very quickly. We've got some Ivory Towers here to try and secure the expansion. Oh, the Knight pops out with a nice item. What? Oh, okay, there you go. There's a bit more than a Wand of Lightning Shield. I was like, hang on a second. Wand of Lightning Shield, is that it? Nope. We do see a Stone Token. Not bad. In fact, a high-level play... I love the surround there, by the way, on the Siege Tank. I mean, at the end of the day, player 9 has to do whatever he can to try to slow down these siege tanks because they are beastly units, and he's done a fantastic job. 2 siege tank denies there. He's going to have to go on this slaughterhouse, and he's not even going to do that because he's being programmed right now by Yumiko to focus down the main, and he can't reach the main. He's not ranged. He's a melee siege tank. That's how they work. Anyway, there you go. He finally decides, yeah, I'll settle for the slaughterhouse. So we've got level 5 Death Knight, level 4 Dark Ranger. We're pumping out the Lion Horn of Stormwind. Ah, there goes the Zeppelin. And it's like player 9 knows there's an expansion going on. Either he scouted it. I'm going to pause it just for a moment just to see if he did scout it. Nope. He hasn't scouted it. He's just got bloody good timing. Or he managed to scout out this far and see something. So either way, he's getting ready to move over there and do some damage. And he needs to hurry up about it because these guard towers are about to go up. 3 on the left-hand side are definitely going up. He might, well, he will be able to take out the ones on the right-hand side. He actually kind of needs to stop these peasants from finishing this town hall. Otherwise, Yumiko might be able to town portal over to it. But it's whether town... Nah, he can't do it anyway because all this is going to get destroyed. The heroes are powerful enough to tank the towers, and the fiends can definitely take some support from the Death Knight or tank the towers as well. So, we got Yumiko over here. He's miles away now, so he's like, crap. That is harsh to lose that. That was perfect timing there from player 9. So this is a really good way for him to feel like he can get back into the game. But one of the beautiful things that Human has is those siege tanks and those knights. And right now you can see that whilst Yumiko's losing this expansion, securing in another expansion over here, he's also got knights, denying the enemy, player 9, from getting his own expansion. So that's what the siege tanks and the knights are doing for Yumiko. And he's a very clever player. All I can say is very clever. So yeah, he loses this expansion, and it was all ready to be set up and protected versus the harass. It sucks, but this player Yumiko knows what he's doing, and he has many other answers, tricks up his sleeve. And I can hear a siege tank going to town already. Where is it? Ah, 2 of them. Down goes the expansion. So we've got to remember that player 9 doesn't have an expansion at this point, and we've got 800 gold left in his mine. Player 9, so he's doing a nice little drop attack here in the main base of Yumiko. He's going to get himself some peasants, and down goes a shredder. Should be some nice experience. Yep, not too bad at this stage because they are high level heroes. He could take on those towers, but it's not exactly particularly comfortable to do so, but he could do it. They are fully upgraded. Meanwhile, we can see over here siege tanks and a knight just going to town on anything else they can spot that is slightly outside of this base. And then it won't be too long until player 9 has to deal with these siege tanks inside of his own main. He's been forced to teleport back, and he's going to have to return with his army. Yep, down it goes. Back to base. And it wasn't even like he was being forced back by Yumiko. Yumiko's just like, I don't care, mate. I got towers. I can deal with this. I'm just going to carry on creeping, getting strong, getting powerful. He's got himself a spiked collar. That's pretty damn good versus undead, because spiked collar allows you to summon a Fellhound, and what the Fellhound does is it can mana burn your opponent. So it's going to take away 100 mana, maybe 50 mana. I can't remember what the summon one does, but it definitely takes away mana. And if used smartly, like the rock golem, the stone golem, well, the stone token rock golem, it can do devastating damage. But right now, Yumiko doesn't even need to fight his opponent properly. He's just harassing with the knights, the siege tanks. He's defeating his opponent with this, and he's just concentrating on creeping and getting more and more expansions. This is the power of Human. This is what Human can potentially do. And if they play it smart and distract their opponent for long enough, they can take more and more map control, which means more and more resources, which means more and more units, which means more and more dead undead base. Yeah, you heard me, dead undead. So, player 9 said, I've had enough of this. I'm coming in, and I'm going to do some damage to your base. Heck, I might even take down your arcane vault, because right now this isn't looking too good for a player 9, and he feels like he has to do something. Yumiko just still dicking around all over the map. He's like, what should I creep next? I think the shop will be rather nice. Oh, darn it. There's nothing to creep here. I guess I'll have to settle for buying some items. Is he going to buy anything? What can you get, Yumo? Oh, the paladin's moving in here. Is it going to be boost of speed, less of invulnerability, and the dust of appearance? Okay. That's what he's going for. Meanwhile, player 9's just throwing down this very late harass siege here from undead. This is the sort of thing you see very early on in the game, or at least mid-game. Early mid-game. Meat wagons, fiends versus an expansion. This is not the sort of thing that you can really be doing at the end, unless you're pretty much going to be losing the game. I don't mean to be too biased, but right now Yumiko looks like he has a lot of control, and the rock golem is out. That's just going to chuck down stone, well, Hell Boulder, I think is the name of the ability, which is basically Storm Bolt, and it costs 50 mana. It doesn't do that much damage, but it provides that stun, which is obviously very high, or very powerful in the high level plays. So, 4 workshops. Meanwhile, we've got this other expansion secured over here. No other expansions for player 9. In fact, this is pretty much all player 9 has left right now. He's thrown in his army here. Did he get the silence off? He got his silence off a little late there and didn't manage... Oh, he did manage to get the Mountain King. Okay, fair enough. He got a good silence off there. I think he even denied the Stormbolt with the silence, actually thinking about it. You would have seen that. I might have not caught that. But there we go, the Stormbolt. Or the Hell Boulder on the Death Knight. Just slowing him down, denying him from throwing down coils to try to protect these fiends as much as possible. Oh, even then throwing that Death Knight into harm's way. He actually can heal the Rock Golem. Okay, we learn something new every day. Paladin can heal the freaking Rock Golem. See, normally the Rock Golem is a magic immune unit, but since it's a summoned unit, apparently it can be healed, but I still don't think it can be have Death Coil cast in it? I'm not entirely sure. Now I'm really curious. Anyway, we can see that Player 9 is doing his best here to try to survive. The siege tanks, there's not many left. There's one left. The meat wagons have been trying to deal with it. Meanwhile, his army's been trying to deal with the human knights and heroes. But it's not exactly a very, very comfortable fight anyway. It's not like it's very easy for Player 9 to beat those heroes alone, let alone the siege tanks. The siege tank is about to go down. We're going to be left with pretty much just 2 buildings. Maybe the heroes could just pick them off themselves, or they'll have to try to defeat the undead army to get access to these buildings. Either way, Yumiko's sitting in a very good, comfortable spot right now with the expansions, more resources, more siege tanks for later on, even if he doesn't do too well in this fight. He's forcing those fiends to burrow. Meanwhile, he's forcing defensive play as well. Yumiko, using the invulnerability pot, does not want to lose that Archmage quite clearly to like a Death Coil and a nuke hit. Oh, down goes one of those poor fiends. The Dust of Appearance from the Paladin proving ever so useful. The Archmage is taking a lot of punishment. The silence is still on, and is the Death Knight going to finish off the Archmage? He does. Steps himself up to level 6. Probably going to see level 3 Unholy Aura. Yes, we do. Most undeads do not bother with Animate Dead, since it's almost relatively pointless to get it versus high level play, human players, because there's just very few samples where you can actually use it. I mean, there's a couple of knights. Maybe you use it on your own fiends. Not really that worth that 175 mana that it's going to cost. Paladin is still going strong. He's got 1 Holy Light left now after I said that. Mountain King still got 1, potentially 2 Storm Bolts to go if the fight drags out long enough. So Player 9 is actually pushing Yumiko back, but I'm not even sure if Yumiko needs to fall back here. Yeah, here we go. I think he's just baiting this. Oh, is that a false surround? That is a false surround. That Dark Ranger cannot deny the Knight. She's trying to bring him down, but nope. And he manages to leave before the Death Knight goes down. Brilliant game. Very fun to watch that one. Yumiko defeating Player 9, otherwise known as ADDD. So that's how he's... Yeah, that's how you say it. Okay, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this. You can see Yumiko really reaped it in gold-wise. That allowed him to sort of have so much control there and just carried on creeping despite his opponent's harasses and sieging attempts. He was just like, nah, I'm just going to do some more creeping. See you later. Alright then, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this game. If you did, then like the video, subscribe to the channel. Share this video with your friends or anyone else that you think might be interested in it. Share it along the social media. That's all good. And take care. And if you want to help out the channel a little bit more, you can go to patreon.com/WTiiWarcraft. There you can just pledge $1 or more, get yourself an extra video for the month, as well as other goodies. So I would really appreciate that if you'd be willing to do that. Just $1 would go a long way to helping me out. Alright then, thank you very much for watching. Take care. I'll see you later. Bye bye.